Today I'll be looking at two tools that I will be comparing for assessment. These are Kahoot and Plickers. I chose these two because I have heard a lot about Kahoot and wanted to understand it more. I chose Plickers because I first heard about it, or something very similar to it, several years ago when I went to a conference, and I was intrigued by it as well. I think they are both great tools for the classroom. And so let's look at Kahoot first. First thing you're going to want to do is create an account. And you can do that by going to create.kahoot.it or just Googling Kahoot and pulling that up. Once you've created your account, then you'll come up to a screen like this. You'll notice that there are several choices down here. And I can scroll down and you can see a bunch. And basically these were loaded into my window, basically because I have interests that I choose when I'm first setting up Kahoot. You can set up standards and anything else, subject matter that you would be engaged in. And you can do a search for any kind of general Kahoot, but I chose history and several other subjects. And so you can see like Martin Luther King Jr. Day comes up. And so that's a Kahoot and you can play that. So just by hitting discover, you can do that. So let me click on this one. And you can see right here, if I choose this particular one, then basically I have several options. I can play it. And if I play it, it's going to actually launch the game. And so anybody that has a code, and I'll go into that in just a minute, anybody that has a code would be able to play at that particular point. I could set challenge, and if I hit challenge, it's going to allow basically this to be like a homework assignment that I would have a group of students complete, and I would get a report for that. The other one thing you can do is you can put a star here, so if there's something that you like, you can click on that, and it'll go into your favorites, and I'll show you that in just a minute. But then you have that available. And then the other thing you can do is click on this dots, and then you've got a chance you can either preview what it would look like and share it with somebody else that you know, or you can duplicate it. And if I duplicate that, basically it's going to make a copy of this in my Kahoot. So if I go back up here again, here's my basic menu areas. I got settings and things of that nature, but let me go into Kahoot. So if I go to Kahoots, it's going to pull up my particular Kahoots. And so these are in my Kahoots, and you can see I've got two that I've done here. First one is a duplicate. So I duplicated the Civil War Gettysburg to the election of 1864. I like this one, so I had duplicated it, and basically I have more options when I duplicate this. So you can see it's a 10-question quiz, and if I hit play, again, it's going to allow me to pull this up and play it. Challenge would be like a homework. Again, I can start, and it would just go to my favorites right here. Or I can have a menu here, and if I click on this, this would allow me to, I could throw it away if I didn't like it, if I was done with it, tired of it, or whatever. Preview it, share it, duplicate it again. But the key thing I want to show you is this. If I edit this, then it pulls up the screen, and I can edit the title. I could change the title around or whatever. If I click on this, you'll notice this is important. This shows you basically what the title is. You can use these hashtags, so if you want people to find your Kahoot a little bit easier, this would show up in a U.S. history. It would show up under Gettysburg. It would show up in 1864. It would show up in the Civil War, very much like Twitter or something like that. This one's right now only visible to me. I could change this. I could change the language. You have to put this in as a school. I would just choose school as compared to something else. You can use a credit resource. That has to do with the picture here. If you wanted an intro video, you could actually create one, a YouTube video, and put it here, and then it would pull that up as well. And if I hit it, OK, go, then it allows me to pull up the questions, and I could edit the actual questions. You can see right here, this is where the time is. You can duplicate this question, or you can trash the question. But if I edit the question, so then it's going to pull it up, and it should ask me if I want to allow points, and highly recommend that. You're going to choose what points you want to allow right here. and then you could have a photo or whatever. If you do put a photo in, you have a place to give a credit for that photo as well. I did not create this one. Again, this was just a duplicated one that was available, and so I chose that, but you can edit it if you duplicate it. So that gives you an idea there. So I'm going to exit that, and it's okay. So I'm back at my Kahoots. A couple of other things I wanted to show real quick is you do have reports, and reports basically, you'll see I've got two. These are the two that I played. If I wanted this, if I had a group of students or whatever, you could download this report. It would come up as a spreadsheet, and then you have some choices that you could do with that. But just a good way to keep up with who's doing what. If you assign it for an assignment or homework or whatever challenge, then you could have the reports of who did it and how they did. So you have that option. And then create, this is the last thing I'll focus on with Kahoot. Create is if you wanted to create a Kahoot, blank one. So you could create a quiz, a discussion, survey, or jumble. So you got some options, and you can play around with that. But for time's sake, I won't go into much detail other than I'll go back into Kahoots and show you where I created one. So I created a Kahoot here. It only has one question. Again, I've got the play, I've got the challenge. I can star it, and I can edit it. So if I go in here to edit, again, it's going to pull it up. And if I click on this pin right here, this would be where I got the picture. And again, I put the picture and where I got the picture from. And it says Kahoot, basics about Kahoot. And I said, okay. And here's the question. So I can add questions as I want. I could import from a spreadsheet if I wanted. But again, I asked a question. Can you duplicate a Kahoot? You should know that answer now. Of course, that would be true. But if I go in here and edit it, you see, yes, you can, or no, you can't. You'll notice that there are two. You have to, so it could be like a true false. Be true, you could, or false, you can't, or you can do up to 4 answers, and you can change the timing and all that. So that's pretty much the basics. So I want to show you real quick. Let me close out of here. And so if I wanted to play, say this one right here, you can choose classic or team mode. And if you notice, a classic would be each individual has their own device, like a phone or a tablet, which is probably going to be the most popular with students because they all get to play. You could do it as a team. You could have 2 or 3 teams, however you want to decide on that. And then you have some options here for starting a game. If I click on classic, give me, you can see other devices that they all have. It's going to give you a PIN number. And that PIN number is very important. So I can either go to the Kahoot app, and you can put the Kahoot app on your phone or on a device, or they can go to a website. And all they do is once they click this in, they're going to now be able to play the game. And so, for instance, if I hit start, well, I can't hit start because I don't have any players. But if I could, I'll just show you right here. This shows you, again, they're going to have that. Basically, they're going to be choosing this device, or the answer you can see is based on shapes and colors. So if it was answer 1, they would just choose the red. It would connect here. You get an immediate report back. They see the question. You get feedback as a teacher. And that's the way Kahoot works. And that's just a general quick overview of Kahoot. Okay, now I'm comparing Plickers. This is Plickers. I'm signed into Plickers. Same thing as like Kahoot. You have to create an account first. Once you do, you can go ahead and get started. I've already created a class. So you have classes here. So this menu is where you would be in Plickers. And I've created U.S. History as a class. And I'm going to click on that now so you can see. So this is 3 questions that I've created for a unit within Plickers. But what's important is if you scroll down here, you've got to use this your class roster. And so you can edit students. I'm going to just go to edit students. And you can see I've added 2 students. And they get associated with a card. So this is where it's a little different than Kahoot. They're going to have a card, and I'll show you that in just a minute what that looks like. But each student is going to get a device. Well, not a device, but this card is associated with them. And so that's going to give you as the teacher the feedback for that. So I'm going to go back into the class. I just wanted you to see that you can create a new class, whatever you want to call it. It could be third grade, it could be Math 101, whatever name you want to give your class. But that's where you would do that, and information can be stored there. So let's go to my library. And I'm going to go to my library, and you can see there's U.S. history. I've created this, and then I've got an arrow here. Now I could create a new folder right here and title it whatever I wanted to title it. So it could be, math, whatever class I wanted to give that. And you got an option here, a new question, or if you threw anything in the trash, new set of questions or whatever. But in the folder, so I clicked on that, and then you've got your questions. And if you notice when you highlight over this, you can then create the question. So quickly, here are 3 questions that I've added. And if I wanted to do anything with them, I can click on this question. That shows you where I'm at. Let me go back out here. If I want to edit, close that. If I want to edit the question, I would go edit set. And edit the set, this is where you would allow you to make a question, put in your answer choices, choose the correct answer. If you want to do a picture like I did here, you can do that. And so you've got graded. This is graded. If you'll notice down here, I don't have a picture, but if I wanted, I would do that right here. And I've got this as survey. So basically, a survey just allows you, like, did you like this quiz? Yes, I loved it. It's okay for to take a quiz by paper and pencil. I'd rather have to do a lot of homework. So it just gives you a chance to create something where students can give you feedback. Okay, for time's sake, I want to just move really quickly. But if I go back into home, you do have a place, again, kind of similar like Kahoot, where you can get reports and score sheet information. I do need to show you real quick. If I go to help, you need to have Plickers cards. So I'll go to Plickers cards. You'll see right here you got an option. And so if I did standard, let's just say, these are our Plicker cards. Now these are what the students are going to use to vote. And so voting, you can see is A, B, C, and D. Students are basically going to turn these cards to choose A, B, C, or D, and you can see that there's a number associated with this card. So you're going to cut these in half and give this to the students. So this would be Jane, and this would be John. And that's how the cards work. So let me get out of that. And then real quick, let me just show you. So if I went to U.S. history and I went to my, let's see, what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get in here, and I want to choose this. And at this point here is where I can play now. So when I choose this, I'm going to play this, and I can have them show the, I get information from them. But basically what they're going to do is they're going to use their device, they're going to vote, and then you can get a real quick update of the information. Okay, so real quick to summarize everything, Kahoot and Plickers are very similar in that they are educational games that offer immediate feedback. They allow creativity and flexibility in designing and make learning fun. And one of the biggest differences is that the students use a device such as a smartphone or tablet in Kahoot and not in Plickers. These are both excellent tools to assess student learning on an individual basis as part of formative assessments. And once created, they are available for future classes. These benefit students because they are a fun way to engage in the learning process. They can be used in such a way that students can participate without worrying about their peers, what their peers will think about them, and teachers can gauge where mediation may be needed. So both of these are excellent tools, and I think that they would help your class tremendously. I certainly know that I would enjoy using them as a teacher, and wish some of this was around when I was first teaching. So thank you for taking the time to listen to my screencast, and I wish you all a blessed day.